Hey guys, today I wanted to talk a little bit about HB 181, House Bill 181, the licensure for naturopathic doctors. It's amazing what they're doing to us this legislative session, isn't it? With the ability now to be able to reduce us to the point where they feel like that we have to compromise somehow to be able to beg the legislature for rights that are already ours. One of those is that parental bill. The what I wanted to talk about, though, was I got a word of wisdom from a friend of mine that basically said something very profound, and he basically said government does one of two things. Government either empowers people or it empowers itself. And knowing the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, the principles of freedom and liberty and all of that jazz, which one would be more consistent? Well, it would be that the government that we created was actually created after God created us and gave us our unalienable rights. So in a constitutional republic, it makes perfect sense that the government was only supposed to do one thing. It was supposed to be able to empower people and not itself. Today, however, is a much different thing. We still have all of the legislators and the congressmen, and they swear the oath to the Constitution, and when things matter during election season, you never hear it any other time. I support and defend the Constitution because it's a democracy. Or, we have the right to do this and we have the right to do that. So the fundamental part to understand is that if a government does not empower people and it empowers itself, it is most likely inconsistent with our fundamental rule of law. HB 181 is no different. The lady, Chris Ellis, I think, she was the sponsor of the bill. She says that it expands, and this isn't the first time we've heard this. If you've watched these videos, then you're nuttier than I thought. But where the legislators say that these particular bills expand the rights of the citizens. Well, let me ask you something. Has government ever expanded the rights of the citizens? And is it possible for government restriction to ever expand anything other than control? Well, logically, she must not have a clue as to how that works, so we should probably talk to her about the two fundamental concepts that we just talked about, whether government actually empowers the people or empowers itself. I think we should do that. If I could have talked to her, I would have loved to have done that, by the way. So she says that it expands, basically I'm saying that she says it expands the rights of government. I'm saying through reading the bill that it expands government authority and it expands the ability to expand government by creating a board or two boards. Now somehow the bill I thought said one board, now they're talking about two boards. Well, maybe it's three boards or five boards. Well, if it's 5 boards, it might as well be 25 boards. And if they're expanding those and the legislature feels that they have the delegated authority to do that, isn't that the expansion of government actually empowering itself and not the people at all? So, they also said that the board is going to be unaccountable to the state as it claims to be self-governing. Now, this was from the words of Chris Ellis herself. We have a legislature that thinks it has the power to be able to delegate authority that it doesn't have because it expands government, but it's also going to be able to delegate that authority, and what it's going to do is it's going to delegate that authority to a standalone entity that is accountable to no one. Wow. So let's say we have these people that are federally certified, unconstitutional, federally certified, accredited. Well, boy, if there's only 4 of them, I would consider that might be an oligarchy. If they have a bone to pick with oncology, naturopathic oncologists, or they have a sort of problem with a particular type of, therapy, thermographies, or, whatever they decide to do, oh yeah, well, they can just pinpoint them because we're an oligarchy and we're the controlling interest. It's kind of like creating a new government where it's a democracy or it's an oligarchy where the rights of the minority are trumped. So, and then they have this formulary council. So we've got 2 boards or 25 boards, we're not really sure yet. And then they've got a formulary council. Well, I don't know about you, but formulary sounds a little complicated to me, and I don't see it anywhere in the Constitution, so I might be a little reluctant to be able to think that they have the legislature has the delegated authority to delegate power and authority to create boards, and for them to be able to delegate further authority to other accountability groups, if those are for sure what they are. So let's look about this for a second. We've got words in this bill called government authorizes. Is that like permission? Like from government? You mean like they're the controlling interest here? Allowed under 51, statute 51, that's what you hear about. Not the Constitution, you just hear about 51. Allowed. Qualifications for licensure, fees, prohibitions, disciplinary actions, and reporting requirements. Is that empowering the people or is that empowering itself? And who's paying for that? Shouldn't it be the choice of people to decide, not government? And what is the purpose of a license anyway? Is it to protect people? I don't know. It doesn't work very well for driver's licenses, does it? But just because somebody gets a driver's license, somehow everybody's a safe driver? Well, we've got law enforcement out there, and they're like road rage, and we've got people shooting each other and flipping people off and wrecking people and all of that. It's almost like they think that licensing is going to prevent crime. And here again, we have people that have no idea about the fundamental rule of law. Licensing and laws do not prevent crime. They're established to punish crime. So are people really safer with licensing? I'm not so sure. Who's to say that they are? Just because we're following precedent? Oh yeah, well, licensing's been around for a long time. Look how safe people are on the road. Well, we've forgotten back in the day when we lived in a different America, we didn't have licensing. So am I off the cuff for suggesting even the Supreme Court even talks about the fact that anytime a right is turned into a privilege and they charge for a license, it's unlawful? Have we ever asked what the limitations are and what government can't license? Air? Can they license what you wear? Underwear? The amount of times you're allowed to eat during the day? The amount of miles you can drive? Oh, that's coming, by the way. In addition, there's a difference between herbal remedies and brain surgery. There's so much here. She kept saying that it's illegal, it's illegal, it's illegal. What about is it lawful? Not any law that the legislature writes is lawful. With the abandonment of the Constitution and no fundamental understanding of what that is, we somehow believe that we're supposed to submit to any whim that the legislature deems to create, like continuing to restrict our right to bear arms. She says there's no constitutional conflict. How? Constitutions were to limit government, not the people. Doesn't that completely violate the first thing I said when I talked about it right here? Empowering people? It's empowering itself. Constitutions limit government, not the people. So how can a license that restricts the rights of the people not be in conflict? This is retarded. I think what I'm trying to say, guys, is that if I had a solution for this licensing bill and all of this and all the hoopla about Statute 51 and all that, I have a solution. For those that want to be able to follow Western medicine, follow Western medicine. For those that want to go to naturopathic alternatives, do that. We have the option to do that right now. And furthermore, why don't we make licensing an option? For those of you that would give up every ounce of freedom for security and submit to government in fear because we can't do anything else and oh my God, go to your licensure. Go to your big government. Go to your big pharma. Take the meds. Take the blue pill or the red pill or whichever's the brainwashing pill or whatever. But make licensing an option. It doesn't have to be mandatory. Allow people to choose whether they want a licensed doctor, a licensed attorney, actually. There are people that aren't licensed that I would trust much more than I would an attorney. How about you? So we've forgotten to dissect this out. So the solution I have for HB 181 is to dissolve the bill or include a provision in there that says licensing, nothing will be in effect or affected any differently. Licensing will now be an option, and it does not have to be mandatory because it allows people, it empowers people without empowering government. So that's what I have today, guys. And I had a few more thoughts, but I guess they're not really that important, and I'm over 10 minutes. So anyway, God bless you all. Love you. Bye.